This is the day one for the Story for the Soul series. So, what we do, we pick up some stories from the amazing treasures the world has, the history has, and present before you those stories. So, the story that comes to my mind for today, day one, is about our quest for happiness. That we are all looking for happiness. That's a fact. You ask anybody, why are you working so hard? And that person says, I have to work very hard to clear the examination. So, why do you want to clear the examination? So that I can get into this particular prestigious college. But why do you want to get into the college? Because that college will give me a degree. Why do you want to get the degree? Because that degree will give me a job. You want a job? You want to serve somebody? Yes, that job will give me the money, will give me the salary, and I'll be able to fulfill my desires. So, why do you want to fulfill your desires? So that I'm happy. So, the answer will always lead to that point that we all want to be happy, and that's why whatever we are doing, the main motivation is happiness. So, it is worth examining what is this happiness. We don't want to be sorrowful, we don't want to be in a state of sadness. So, is it possible to remain in a state of permanent bliss and not to have any afflictions of sadness? And the scriptures are unequivocally telling yes, the perfect bliss is very much possible. This was the reason, one of the reasons I started reading Bhagavad Gita about 20 years back. And I kept exploring this particular question of mine. Being a very average student, I had my own limitations. But then I can say that I got the answers to a very amazing degree. And I'm so tempted to share that with all of you. So, what is this happiness, that all of us are seeking? Right from the day the child is born, the first cry he makes is, a slogan which makes him to cry is about happiness. Because the child did not like the process of birth in which his body was subjected to pain. So he cried, he let out a loud cry. And that cry is the slogan to say that I don't want sadness, I want happiness. And from that day onwards, we have been looking for happiness. So, where is that happiness? Because this world did not seem to give us that happiness. We thought when we buy this beautiful car, we will be the happiest. But after a while, the excitement dwindled. That car doesn't excite us anymore. In fact, we are becoming jealous of the neighbor's car. So there wasn't any perfect happiness in the car. And the same goes on for any other object or any other personality. We thought this friend or this relative or this neighbor will give me permanent happiness. But then there was an ups and downs kind of a situation. And the perfect happiness eluded us. So, there is a beautiful story about this. What is this worldly happiness? And what is the godly happiness, which is the real happiness, which we experience only when we have gone into the spiritual dimensions. And that's why they say the happiness is inside, the happiness is within our heart, it is not outside. Because the outside happiness is relative. We think that there is happiness, that's why we condition our mind. For example, a bottle of alcohol may be a source of happiness for a drunkard, But the same bottle of alcohol, you give it to a Pandit ji, a priest, and he will be fuming. Why did you offer me this bottle of alcohol? So the happiness is not there in the object. The happiness is in our thinking. And another example is given about this very pretty woman. One person wants to shoot her, and another person is coming on the way, and he's telling, you shoot me, I am protecting her. So when the investigation was carried out, it was found out the person who wants to shoot her is the husband. They have fallen apart, and now there is so much of anger. And the person who wants to protect her is a lover, and he is completely besotted by her. So, was the happiness there in the lady? This example clearly tells us the happiness was not there in the lady. The happiness was there in the thinking. So that is the nature of the worldly happiness, that the happiness in the world is dependent on our own thinking. And the happiness in the world that we experience is not permanent, it is transitory, it is ephemeral. Once it begins, it starts reducing, it starts diminishing. So the first limitation of the worldly happiness is it is not permanent. Second limitation is it is limited, it is finite. And the third, the worldly happiness is not like a sentient happiness, it is insentient. So that is the background for this story, which when I read in the Bhagavatam, it was absolutely amazing. There is a conversation in Bhagavatam about Bhavatavi, the world which King Rahugan is hearing from Jad Bharat. So Jad Bharat is telling King Rahugan about this Bhavatavi. What is this Bhavatavi? The world. Shri Krishna talks about this world as Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. There are four realities of this world: the birth, the death, the old age and disease. Shri Krishna says no one can escape. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. So, what is the solution? So the solution, all the scriptures are telling, we have to approach the Lord. We have to surrender to that Lord. The Holy Bible is telling the same. Thou shalt love thy God with all thy heart, with all thy might, with all thy soul. Lord Buddha is telling the same. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Holy Quran is telling the same. Ma khalaqtal ins wa jin illela abdun. And Bhagavad Gita is telling the same. 1866. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami masucha. Surrender to the Lord is the path to attain the real happiness. Not this temporary happiness, not this finite happiness, not the worldly happiness which again becomes sour. But to experience the same permanent happiness in whatever situation, it is not that Shri Krishna is asking us to discard the world, but remaining in the world, how to experience the ultimate bliss is the formula that all the scriptures are giving. And the story which we will quickly narrate is about this person who used to walk every evening. One day he happened to experiment. I walk every day in this particular route. Let me go a little bit, in a different direction today. So this was evening time, and he wandered into a different route, but that led to a forest, which was a dense forest. And then he was experimenting, so he thought, okay, let me walk And then he realized, no, it is not safe. It is very dense and it is getting darker. So he thought, no, let me go back. So he tried to retreat his path, but when he was going back, there were some animals who were there and they started chasing him. And then he got frightened and he ran into the opposite direction. In the opposite direction, he saw that there was a old lady, a witch-like lady wearing a black garb and with her hands outstretched and calling him, please come. She was calling him so that she can embrace him. So the animals are chasing in one direction and the lady with the black robe is there in the other direction. And this man got frightened further. So he went into another route. And then he thought that there is a way to escape, but actually it was a valley, but it was covered by the shoots, by the shrubs. So he fell into the valley. But while he was falling, one of the shoots, it entangled his legs, and now he is hanging upside down. So when he is hanging upside down, when he settles, he sees that there is a snake in the valley, in the pit, a very ferocious snake with its hood and the fangs, and as if it is telling him, hey, I'm waiting for you. When you fall in, I'll bite you. Animals who chased him and the lady with the black garb and now the snake, but not only that. He saw that there is a black rat and a white rat. They approached. They came onto the chute with which he was hanging. And this black rat and the white rat started nibbling at the chute with which he is hanging. That means when they finish nibbling and cut it fully, he will fall, adding to his miseries. But not only that, because of the disturbance of the shrub, he is falling. There was a beehive which got disturbed, and the bees are now coming and tormenting him, ready to sting him. And he is now having all these problems. The animals chasing him, the old lady calling him, the frightening lady, the black rat and white rat trying to cut the chute, and the snake at the bottom. But in the process, the beehive which was there also got shaken, and some honey drops came into his mouth. It fell into his mouth. When the honey drops fell into the mouth, he felt so good. And for a moment he seemed to forget that he's surrounded by all these. And there was a smile on his face. So the question arises, who is this person? And the answer given in Bhagavad is, this person is none but all of us, the human beings. The animals that we chased are the diseases, the diabetes, the hypertension, the asthma. The old lady which is calling and embracing, ready to embrace us, is that old age which is catching up. The bees which are stinging are all the defects of our personality: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Moh, Matsar, Rag, Dvesh, Irsha, jealousy, greed, lust, anger, envy, attachments, pride. And the snake which is there in the pit is the death. And the black rat and the white rats are the day and night. With every passing day, our life is finishing. I found this story to be extremely, extremely important to understand the reality to understand the limitations of the worldly happiness and the need to explore our real self, to understand that we are not the body, we are the soul. And when we connect to the Lord, when we connect to God, that is when our welfare begins. This was a transformational story for me. So in the series, The Story for the Soul, this is the day one story. And at the end, I would always like to thank Swami Mukundanand, who is the inspiration for all this knowledge which I am sharing as a student. So thank you all so much, and I hope you liked this story as much as I did.